Hi, this is Joyce Fernandez, and I'm speaking to you the day before classes are starting. Today is January 24th, 2021, and I am specifically speaking to the students who are online synchronous. Those are the students who are assigned a day and a time. I have 4 online synchronous classes for spring 2021. You're either meeting on a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, or a Thursday. And there are 7 class meetings. I was blown away, and it took my breath away how many people have written to me in the last 2 days, or maybe since I sent out the syllabus. It just seems like a lot of emails saying similar things, that they can't come, they can't do it. They had no idea that we were meeting on Zoom. And it doesn't say Zoom when you sign up, but it just says required meetings on certain days, but they did not know what they were signing up for. And that is the bigger picture. I have done similar things. I have missed deadlines, did not pay attention to what I was doing. I take classes as well, and I take classes in Boston, and I like hybrids. So when it's face-to-face time, I'm only going to Boston every other week. And I have had the situation where they said, you signed up for this class that meets weekly. I'm like, oh. So I did it, but I thought, who made that mistake? Me. You cannot blame anybody else. I know that some of you may have, because you registered online, and maybe you even said, is this on, if you are you registered on phone, and you might have said, is this an online class? And they said yes, but they never said the word synchronous to you. So that's when you have to double check. Please double check. It's just a lesson for all of us. And go to the site where we do this course offerings. So at this point, if you really cannot make any of the Zooms, then this is not the class for you. The synchronous classes were assigned to me and developed by the program and by the college, because they want to start getting closer and closer to in classes. So they wanted times where students were asking. Plus, there were so many F and FWs last semester, and when students were asked, like, how did you ever get an F? They said, I need a teacher to see at least every other week. I need a group to be with. So these classes were designed to give you a feeling of being in a class. Even though it's not the same, you still become a cohort. And this will be the 3rd generation of doing it. I've been doing these classes since the summer, and some of them have really become friends, and friends even now, post when the course is over. And they said, I really needed it. I needed to ask my questions in real time. I need to listen to other students. Ms. Fernandez, you explained it, and I needed the repetition, which will happen in a synchronous live class, right? That doesn't happen in asynchronous classes. Teachers put up assignments, they explain them a little bit, and then you're on your own. So this whole model was prepared and designed by the program and by the college, asking for more variety. In November, when the courses were we have our spring schedule. If you looked under communication, which I did, you might not have looked. I don't know. Maybe you did it, like I said, on the phone. But there were many, many asynchronous ones. Most of them are. There wasn't any more like mine, except for Michelle Murphy, Shelley, and myself have done these. And she does it every week. She has a professional speaking class now that meets twice a week, every week, online, on Zoom. So it's like everyone has a different need or desire. So, but most of them were asynchronous. I have an asynchronous this semester that's full, but that's what I taught mostly in the fall, was asynchronous. I only taught 2 of these sections, but now I have 4 of the sections. And when it was first proposed to me, I said, I don't think students are going to want to do that, because they work or they have children, or they're not going to want to meet at a certain time on Zoom. They said, oh no, this has become more popular and we have to at least offer it. And then my classes just filled up, and there was a waiting list, etc. And that is why the beginning of January, if you were part of the class then, I sent you that video saying, please know what you signed up for, not just for our class, but for all the classes, because it's important to know. Today is the day before you can web delete. Of course, that might put you in a bind, like what are you going to replace it with, right? If you're on financial aid and you want to get into 4 classes or 5 classes, another public speaking class may open up. They may open up another one, or there might be the late start ones, or what they call the flex. But you would have to call the enrollment services and ask them about that. But as far as I'm looking at it right now, and yes, I see. This is what it says. Not that most of you know, but it says online course that meets specific day and time. Attendance is required. Class meets synchronously, right? Meaning the same time, online, and then it has my 7 dates. Like I said, some of them are meeting every week. We're meeting every other week, except in March, there'll be 2 weeks in between there. So that's why the calendar is so important. And that is where we do our live presentations. There are speech categories like there are in English classes, right? Essays. And these are oral presentations, and they will be presented with us together. And what I found was some students were more relaxed in that paradigm. And because I'd be there and I'd say, okay, Joyce, your turn. You're like, oh, I'm nervous. And then, okay, today I'm speaking about, and maybe you say, could I start again? I sure, start again. And then we get through it. And then we are looking at you. The videos are on. No one gets to like mute. They can mute their volume so we don't hear background noises, but the camera has to stay on. We're watching and supporting. And none of this is perfect, and it's clunky. And even my talking to you right now, I'd much prefer if you were live, if you were right here and I could talk to you. But you get comfortable being uncomfortable, and there is a beauty to this because you are able to do this not only in class, but then transfer those skills to other courses that have Zoom, or other work situations, or going on interviews where you're needing to talk on a camera. So there's other purposes that this works out well. So those are the Zoom classes, and it's really important that you know what you signed up for. If you've written to me in the last day or two and you said, I can't make it, then this class is not for you. If you've written to me and you've said, I can make it, but not for 2 times because of work or military reasons, that's fine. We can work around that. But your presentations will be on Zoom eventually. So maybe you're not there all 7 times, but you'll be there enough to do your presentations. So if you miss the first one and the second one, and you come on the third one, then you will be prepared to do your introduction, which is very informal and very quick. You'll do your first one, the In the News, and be prepared to catch up. And then once you do, you'll be in the group. You'll be in the group because all these Zooms are recorded. The good part about that is that they'll be housed in the Zoom that's part of our course site. Like on the side panel, you will see Zoom, right, where it has course content and the syllabus, and then the folders. You'll see Zoom. Press on that, and you will see where all the recordings will be housed. So if you miss the class this week, then you're going to watch the recording. And then all of us can watch the recording. I know, I don't like to watch myself either, but I have to take one for the team. But they're there, so that's good. But when it's time for you to do your presentation, you have to come into that Zoom. So you have to decide. I know some of you have children at home, and you're not going to be able to devote yourself for 2.5 hours. That's fine. That is fine. Just know it'll be recorded. Come in when you can, and when you can't, you go, right? We'd like to keep the cohort all together, but that's not realistic. But I'm hoping some students will want to stay, so I won't be the only one there. But even if I have one student that does it, I'm okay with that. And about children and people you're caring from, I know I don't have to say this, but please know that I feel, as you do, your children come first, whatever their needs are, right? I've had students have children since last March when we went online for our videos and that kind of thing, and kids would be sitting on their laps, walking behind. You know, the speeches aren't long. The first one, the introduction, you're not even knowing you're doing it. It's going to be so quick. I'll give you an example of an introduction in a minute. But the first one, In the News, is 2 to 5 minutes. So prepare a short one and say, okay, I have to do it between my children doing something, right? So it's fine. Just if there are kids or anyone, dogs, cats, myself included, shut the mute button off so we don't hear it. Because sometimes we've heard things that I don't think we're supposed to be listening to, right? It can be funny, but you might be embarrassed by it. So just shut the mute button, keep the camera on. So if you have children or you're caring for children, relax. It's okay. It really is. when it's your time, or when you just, if you start the class off at 11 o'clock and you say, Miss Fernandez, I'm here. Can I be one of the first ones to present? Because I can't stay for the whole time. I have to take my daughter here or do this or whatever. It's fine. It really is. Like I said, we'll see. We'll be realistic. Who can stay? And that'll be our cohort. But everyone will be on those Zooms. I will see all the speeches together. That's what's important. Because if you start doing speeches and you start sending them to me, they're going to get lost and they're not going to be part of the community. So if they're on the Zoom and they're on the Zoom and that's where they'll be recorded, then you're good. So relax. And I don't expect everyone to stay there for 2.5 hours. You'll see when we start the class, I'll say, okay, for the next 2.5 hours, this is what I've prepared. And I'll tell you what's coming up. Like the first day, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself, and that will be your introduction. And I will ask you to state the name, how you want to be called in class. So if you have a nickname, or maybe you're Lucille and you want to be called Lucy, you say, I'm Lucy. And then 3 facts about yourself that we cannot see. We cannot know by seeing you. Well, like we can't see them, right? Like 3 things about you. So I'll go first. So, it's my turn. I'll go, okay, I'm Joyce. I've been here for 42 years. Yeah, I've been teaching 42 years. I have 2 beautiful granddaughters, so I'm a grandmother, and I love to do yoga. I love it. It keeps me sane. So yoga, grandchildren, and 42 years. Thank you for listening. And we'll go on to the next person. That's your introduction. Now, if you want to say more, like where you work, what your major is, great. And I might even interview, like, well, what's your major? Why are you taking this class? Have you had Zoom classes before? Any suggestions for anybody else? Like, and we've all been through this shared emotional roller coaster of this deadly pandemic that's only getting worse. And through the course of the semester, you might talk about that. That might be part of your conversation. How could it not? We're having a shared experience that will bond us all forever. You get older, you'll live on this planet for another 90 years, and at one point you'll say, what did you do during the pandemic? And say, well, I had to work, and I did classes online. Like, how hard was it? Super hard, super emotional. I go from being very grateful that I have not been sick, but I've had relatives, including close relatives, that have died. And you have too, plus the financial strife. So that's the introduction. I think we're done for now. And I will go over the class. So when I start at 11 o'clock on this week, I will say, we're going to go through introductions, and then I'm going to go through the course, and then I'm going to give you instructions, if you will, for the first assignment, which will be due in another 2 weeks, the In the News, and then I'll say, see you online. Now, attendance is taken by the discussion boards, you see. So you may not come to the Zoom every week or every other week, but those discussion boards is how I count your attendance, participation. I sent you a list of them so you can look them up. They're all on YouTube. So if you say, gee, what do we want to watch for discussion boards? So you can pre-do it as much as you want. But that week, that's when you post your response. And then you post to one other person. And you can keep going. Just because I say post your response, at least 3 sentences that give some idea, and be brave, right? Especially if you're the first one, just say what you think, put it down. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't judge you on what you say, as long as I know it's from the heart and it's real. It could be something like from not even connected, like what is he saying or she's saying? But if it's genuine for you, I'll accept it. And then when you respond to somebody else, I don't expect big, long passages, but enough for quality connection, right? A good response, a good contribution. So you will do that, and that's weekly. And then after every speech, the next week, you're going to do an evaluation of 3 of your peers, but it's a private evaluation, and I guide you through it. I give you 4 questions to answer. And you have to do 3 different people. So let's say you were doing one on me. You would have Joyce. I am evaluating Joyce. And here's my paragraph response on what I see. How well did she connect to the audience? Did she make eye contact? How was her posture? Did she make her point? Is there anything that maybe she could have done a little differently? And maybe I shouldn't wear my cheetah sweater. You can say whatever you want. When you evaluate someone else, it's really a reflection on you. It's not for that other person. It's for you to start to look at parts of a presentation that you have control over. And you might look at your own and say, gee, I didn't make eye contact. I wasn't looking at the camera. I wasn't looking forward. I was looking down or looking up or looking out the window. And maybe I should try to make some sort of contact, even though the camera is not, like, I don't even know where to look sometimes. So I know I'm probably not looking right at you, but I'm in your direction. And that's important. And you can always have notes. So the discussion boards are weekly. The journals are after every presentation. You'll have one the following week. And then there's the reading. The book is embedded in this class. It's called Public Speaking Project. I have it there. I almost said Speaking with a Purpose, but no. That's a book you buy by Koch. No buying books. It's in there, and there are 18 chapters. And what I like so much about this particular, I guess you'd call it what would you call those? They call them when they just give them OERs? No, I don't believe that's not the word. But when you have something given to you like this, the reason it's there is because it connects to the student learning outcomes. It makes sense to me. And there's 18 chapters. We will go through 13 chapters. And by that, I mean you'll be assigned to read them. It's part of your weekly folder. There's 2 chapters, I think, for the first week. You read both chapters. And I give you a word bank. I call them focal points. So I give you the word bank, then you read the chapter. The chapters are about 10 pages, 10 to 12 pages, and is written at a very good reading level, accessible to a lot of different reading abilities. So you read through them, you look at the word bank, you look at the vocabulary. I'm not expecting you to memorize. I just want you to be familiar so you can recognize some of these terms when I use them in future lectures or the videos are using them, and you say, I think I'm catching on to what communication is about and how much it is connected and engaged with your English lessons from learning about writing, right? And psychology. So the field of communication, the discipline, comes from the behavioral and social sciences and from the English academics. And you will see that. You say, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. There's about, I was going to say 500. No, there's about 200, my battery's going. There's about 200 of these words, about over 13 chapters. And at the end of the semester, there's going to be a final exam based on those words. And the final exam is the type of exam you can take a week, 2 weeks to do it. You can save your answers. And it's 50 of these words. There's 2 multiple answers and 48 multiple choice where I give you the definition right from the book, and then I give you a series of terms that you match it with. And that's the final. And most students said that was fair. It took them some time. They didn't even look at the chapters until they were taking the final, because you can go back and look. You can save your answers each time, so you don't have to do all 50 at the same time. And when you're really done, you submit it. Let me think. Grades ranged from 74 to 100, and there were quite a few 100s and 96s. Students did very well. So the book is important to me, so you understand me and you understand what we're doing in the discussion boards and what you're watching, so that you can really be supported and feel like you got something out of this class. So that's really for you. But I don't quiz you day to day, so that's part of your weekly folders. You'll see. Anyway, if you decide to stay, yay! If not, you're going to have to make some adjustments to your schedule. And thank you for trying. But if you can't make those Zooms, there's no substitute, but you don't have to make every one. You just catch up with it. Okay. What else? That's it. Okay. 18 minutes of your life has been spent on this, but I hope it was helpful to you. All right. Bye, everyone. And thank you.